Now, hello everyone and welcome to Dartmoor Zoo. So my name is Frankie and today I'm going to be giving you a virtual talk on our wonderful cheetah that we have in this enclosure. So I'm going to be telling you about the conservation, about these animals, about the species in general, and then about our wonderful cheetah that we also have in this enclosure with us. Now, conservation-wise, these animals are sadly classed as vulnerable in the wild. One of the main threats is habitat loss and habitat destruction, sadly, but also these animals are taken from the wild for actually the illegal pet trade and also killed for the fur and also trophy trade too. Now that has massively affected these animals, but thankfully due to kind of conservation, education and also breeding programs in-house and out-house in the wild, there's lots of different ways that we're able to conserve this amazing species and hopefully get that population number on the rise. Now, these animals you would find across sub-Saharan Africa as natural where you'd be finding them. Across the open grassland and plains is where you'd be finding these guys. Now, cheetah are normally solitary, however you will sometimes find males together, especially if they are related, and that's why we're able to have these two brothers together happily living within this enclosure. Normally those that are solitary are actually females. They would only come together with another cheetah if they were to be mating or if they were to have cubs on them before they then head off in their own direction. Now, these animals, as you probably all know, are the fastest land mammal on Earth, able to reach speeds up to around about 71 to 75 miles per hour, which is just incredible. These animals are able to go from 0 to 63 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. That is the same acceleration speed, if you're a massive car fan, as a Ferrari, which is just incredibly impressive. To give you an idea of how fast it is, they're able to take 3.5 strides per second. Now, these high speeds, they obviously can't keep up for too long, so around about 200 to 300 metres is how long they can keep these high speeds going for. Now, they are specially adapted to reaching those high speeds, and you can see that just on by looking at these stunning animals. So if you look at the elongated tail, that will help with balance, and they're able to turn and change direction really quickly by moving that tail like a bit like a rudder when reaching those high speeds. They've also got really flexible spine and also shoulder blades, which again are going to be able to then take up that fast paces. They've also got non-retractable claws, meaning that they enter into the ground just a bit like running spikes, again reaching up to those incredibly high speeds. So again, these animals are what we call a stalk and ambush predator. So they're going to be stalking up onto the prey, using that spot coloration to help them keep nice and camouflaged within the grasslands. They're then going to ambush them at the last moment, reaching those high impressive speeds and taking down those animals. Now again, species these guys are going to be going after are small species of antelope, even some birds they've been known to take down, and warthogs as well. So again, anything they can try and get their hands on. Now you will notice cheetah do eat incredibly quick, and they're actually known to gorge themselves. Now the reason for this is actually they're not the largest predator out in Africa. They've got animals such as your lions, you've also got hyenas and even leopards, all challenging them for very similar food and prey. So what a cheetah will do is often take down the prey, gorge themselves really quickly on the food. They're then known to take themselves off to a quiet space, regurgitate the food, and then eat it a lot slower and more enjoyable. Now, to stop that happening too much in captivity, because it can cause stomach and also throat issues, these guys have been known to have really small stomachs, so to stop it happening too much, we actually feed them little and often. So these guys get actually fed 6 times a week, and the reason for this is, like I said, we feed them little and often feeds on those days. They normally get fed 2, if not 3 times a day during those feed days. Now the largest meal they're ever going to get is around about 2 kilograms in weight. Now meat that we feed these guys is calf meat, they sometimes get horse meat, they sometimes even get quail, rats, rabbits, chicken. There's loads of different things we can feed our cheetah, and again we'll try and keep all the fur, feathers and bones all attached to the animal to make it as natural as possible for these guys to be enjoying. And again, to encourage that running behaviour, we specialise our enrichment for these animals. So if when possible, we'll often use our catapult, which we throw the food into the enclosure really quickly at high speeds for them to be chasing after, again, to encourage that running and behaviour after their prey. Other things that we can do is get them working those muscles. So we'll sometimes hang up the meat and again getting them pulling on that meat just like they would be naturally on that prey if it was to be in the wild too. Now the spot pattern on cheetahs is absolutely stunning, and this is actually where they get their name from. So the Hindu word is actually Cheetah, which actually means the spotted one. And again, all those spots are individual to every single cheetah. So again, just like a fingerprint, a way to tell them apart. Now don't worry guys, I'm not going to be asking you guys to count all the spots on our cheetah. There's a lot easier way to tell our two boys apart. And this is actually by looking at the tip end of their tail. Now you will notice that Barrow, our male, has actually got nice even black stripes towards the tip end of his tail, whereas Tebow has actually got a thick black stripe again towards the tip end. So that's a nice easy cheat way to tell these two apart. If you have got incredibly good eyesight, you will notice that Barrow has got a couple of scratches on his face, and this is actually where Tebow's told him off for trying to steal his food. So just like siblings and brothers do at home, just with you guys, our cheetahs do exactly the same if they're trying to steal each other's food. So don't worry too much about it. Now these animals aren't actually what we call big cats, they are actually what we're known as lesser cats. Now the reason for this is actually cheetah are unable to roar. So instead they communicate through little chirps, squeaks and even meows to each other instead, which is incredibly cute if you do hear it. Our boys are often seen strutting around the enclosure, chirping at people seeing they forgot any food on them. If they're not doing that, look up into the top of the mound. They're probably either having a good nap, again they like to sleep for around about 15 to 20 hours a day, just like our lions and tigers. But if they're not doing that, they're probably having a good look out to see what's happening around their territory too. They love being on top of the mound just like they would naturally in the wild, to see what's happening around them and going on. They get to a really good spot to see what's happening in the yard where our keepers are, and often see that glorious red bucket which often has the meat hidden inside too, which our cheetah are able to spot at a really good far distance. Now hunting wise, these guys do normally undertake their hunting during just as dusk or into dawn too. So the reason for that is they've got very similar night vision to us humans, so can't see completely in the dark. So again, when we are feeding them, it's during those times if you are wondering. Now guys, I think that's everything I've got to tell you about our cheetah, but if you have any questions, head across to our Facebook page, send them across to us and someone will be able to answer them for you. Thank you so much for joining us here at the zoo. We hope you've enjoyed this virtual talk and we'll hopefully see you guys soon. Thank you very much.